Hola, soy Marta Tijerina. I'm congratulating Sarah and everyone involved with MACRI. I believe that MACRI will help us not to forget what many years ago, many Chicano leaders, Chicanos very active in Partido Raza Unida, en la comunidad Mexico-Americana, all the work and all the sacrifices that they make so that all of us could have a better life. One thing important is that those topics that we would present, that we would talk about back in the years at Channel 41. I worked for them for 20 years, and it is 50 years ago, this 2020, when I started working at Channel 41, which is the first television in Spanish in the United States, and it was here in San Antonio. So I think that those organizations like MALDEF, the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund, like MOG, the Mexican American Unity Council, like the Southwest Border Registration, like the Mexican Chamber of Commerce, now the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and so many others, the Bilingual Bicultural Coalition Mass Media. Those leaders used to go to talk and have meetings with general managers and demand and ask, what about the opportunities for Chicanos, for Mexican Americans to be on the air and to have executive offices and those stations? It is very important to continue with that history because those topics, those needs to continue fighting, to continue working on, will not end soon. So again, MACRI, thank you so very much. That is the Mexican American Civil Rights Institute. I wish you the best, and I hope that soon I will be able to have more conversation about the Chicano movement, the Partido Raza Unida, and the Mexican American community that I'm so proud to know something about them. Thank you. I remember the in politics, I mean, they were so important also when the change came from the Good Government League to the representation of single-member district in San Antonio. Then we had the first representative of District 1, Henry Cisneros, and then we have Maria Antonieta Rosabal, the first Latina, the first Chicana, elected to the city council. There is so much to talk, and I hope that I will continue having conversation with all of you so that I will learn a lot from MACRI. Thank you so much. Que Dios los bendiga. Felicidades.
Hello, I'm Councilmember Roberto Treviño, and I am proud to support the Mexican American Civil Rights Institute. Why? Because I believe that they are going to help tell our history, tell our story. One of the most important aspects of any culture is to be proud and to identify with that culture. Here in San Antonio, we have a lot to be proud of. We have a lot of history. In that history, from the Alamo to the Willie Velasquez Learning Center to the soon Lermas under construction now, there's so much story that we should be very proud of. The Mexican American Civil Rights Institute, I believe, will change history, will tell history factually, and will change textbooks for future generations to help all of us understand and be proud of Mexican American culture here in San Antonio and throughout Texas. This is an important mission, an important story, one that I'm proud to be associated with. Count me as a partner. Thank you.
Hello. This is Leticia former state senator from San Antonio, Texas. I am very, very proud that MACRI is celebrating. The civil rights are so, so important, especially when it comes to voting rights for Mexican Americans. My mom, who's now 87, always told a story that the first time that she went to vote in 1956, she wasn't allowed to vote. And the reason is not because she hadn't, paid her poll tax. She did pay her poll tax, but her name was San Miguel, and she went to go vote along with her mom, and they had a reading test given to about 10 or 12 people. My mom was already a college sophomore, and because someone in the group supposedly didn't pass the test, none of the people in the group were allowed to vote that day. So you can imagine her pride when in 2008, she got to see in Denver, Barack Obama accept the nomination. She just cried and cried. But having that memory of not even being able to vote because of something totally wrong, that's why we need to document what happened to Mexicano Americanos. That's what we need to document, the struggles. and the Voting Rights Act and labor laws. So thank you very much, MACRI. I hope that today will be very exciting and that young people understand that what was given to them today, that the work is still not over. Congratulations.
My name is Rebecca Viagran, a city councilwoman in San Antonio, Texas. One of my earliest memories of Mexican-American civil rights comes from my grandfather. I remember being with my grandfather and him opening his wallet and showing me his voter registration card. And he shared with me that he always kept his voter registration card with him to prove that he was an American citizen. Because when he was a young boy, he and my great-grandfather were stopped by the Texas Rangers and beaten and strung up because they were seen as Mexican and not Texan and not American. So my grandfather always voted, and he always kept that card with him to show that he was a citizen. And our family, our roots have always been in this area. We've been here for over 350 years. So we didn't cross a border, the border crossed us.
Hi, I'm Councilwoman Adriana Rocha Garcia, and I'd like to share with you a story about my family's intergenerational involvement with the Mexican-American civil rights. And I want to start off by telling you the story that many of you all are familiar with, and it starts with a migrant worker. In this case, the migrant worker is my tia Rosa. And my tia Rosa and her husband, my tío Mingo, would, of course, travel up north to help pick crops. They would take with them their 10 children in a van and travel every year. But my favorite part of the year was when they came back to San Antonio, to their small house in District 5, zip code 78207, because it meant that I would get to hear a lot of stories. And we gather around the table, and usually we'd celebrate with tamales and lots of pan dulce, of course. And during these celebrations of them returning back from work, we played loteria. And so during those loteria sessions, in between the calling of cards, of course, she would tell us some stories about things that would happen to her. And in fact, she had gray hair pretty early on. And so she would say that it wasn't gray hair, that it was just the dust of the road that she's traveled. And that always stuck with me. And the reason that it did is because the stories that she would tell were stories of people like Cesar Chavez, were stories of people like Dolores Huerta, who were advocating passionately for folks like her and her family and my family. And so it always struck me as such an inspirational time because she would always end with saying, "Si se puede." And so I do believe that we can, that together we can. And that is exactly why I'm so supportive and so proud to have the Mexican-American Civil Rights Institute here in San Antonio. I am excited that it will be located at Our Lady of the Lake University, where I currently teach. It's a National Hispanic Serving Institution, and I am proud that it is located in zip code 78207, literally just a few blocks down from where I grew up hearing these passionate stories about people advocating for our civil rights. I am so honored to be able to put together today this quick little message saying congratulations to the Mexican-American Civil Rights Institute for starting the seed that will grow and that will hopefully inspire many more generations to come. And I look forward to working with you all. Thank you.